It's time for a cup of coffee with Will and Chris at Slumberland Furniture. From Slumberland Furniture in Osage Beach, here are your hosts, William Holtz and Chris Schneider.
I think this speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
I don't need to say anything, but I will.
Chiefs,
the Bills.
Chiefs had their chance, right?
What a game.
Oh.
We'll tell you all about that. Plus, hey, it's fall, so the fall colors at the lake are absolutely stunning. They are every year, and our friends at Lake Expo put together a guide to show you the different places around the lake where you can get those vivid colors. The best, we'll tell you about that. Also gonna have a little fun with me throwing a football.
Really? Can you do that?
We're gonna find out.
I don't know.
Cold weather's here. We're gonna tell you some things to remember, plus our hometown hero, and a whole lot more on this week's Cup of Coffee with Wild Will and Uncle Chris. But first, our man from Slumberland.
Hey everybody, Daryl Cunningham with Slumberland Furniture at the Lake. I'm posted up close to the fire today because it's cold outside, but the weather's going to get warm this weekend. Perfect weather for our tent sale that's going on. Come take advantage of all of our overstocked items, get some great deals. Come check us out at Slumberland Furniture, where we're bringing happy home.
Man, just love those guys here at Slumberland Furniture. Daryl's the man, the whole crew. On my way in this morning, stopped at the gas station to fill up my mug with coffee, and I saw they had two of their delivery crews. There's four of them in there, Arvid and the crew, getting coffee out bright and early. I bet they're already on their second or third delivery. They're working hard regardless of the time of year, and right now they got their tent sale, as Daryl probably just told you about, going on. Some blowout prices here in the parking lot. You and Michelle gonna come by and see them?
Absolutely, man. That tent is unbelievable, and they got it up, I mean, like this morning it was below freezing. They don't care. They're out there with furniture and great stuff out. They got to check that out.
For sure. And make sure when you come, you tell them that Wild Will and Uncle Chris sent you in. All right, so fall colors at the lake. If you've been here for any amount of time, you know that the fall colors at the lake, the foliage is really second to none across the Midwest. And so if you're wondering where are some of those better spots to get better photos, fly the drone, get good family fall photos, our friends at Lake Expo actually put together a comprehensive list. And we're going to start going right through that. Bagnell Dam, that's really one of the best spots. You know, the historic Bagnell Dam and Bagnell Dam Strip. There's also hiking there that'll take you up to the scenic overlook, and you really get a good look at that. And then right on from that a little bit, the Wilmore Lodge, where the Lake Area Chamber of Commerce is. Have you been to the Wilmore Lodge?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Been there several times. If we have guests that haven't been here before, we usually take them to Wilmore Lodge because there's just so much interesting information in it, and it's gorgeous.
And history.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at the history of the dam being built and the history of how the lake was developed and has grown, that's really a great place to stop. It's almost like a mini museum telling the story of Bagnell Dam and the lake area. So there's three great options right there. You've also got the Grand Glaze Bridge. It was constructed in 1930, believe it or not.
Yeah, because they built the dam, I think it was finished in 32, right? So they were building the Grand Glaze Bridge at pretty much the same time so that when the water filled in, they would have a bridge there.
Yeah, and the new parallel bridge was constructed in 1984, and there's some hiking there, not far from the Grand Glaze Bridge, the Lake of the Ozarks State Park, boat ramps, hiking, mountain biking, camping, and more. Then the Niangua Bridge, which is close to you, spans the Niangua arm of Lake of the Ozarks. Great place to see the colors. Man, going over that bridge, you see those bluffs and those hillsides right there. It's really getting pretty.
It's gorgeous. And it's kind of confusing because there are two Niangua bridges. There's the one west of Camdenton, and that's the Niangua 54 bridge, because it's Highway 54. And then they got the Niangua 5 bridge, which is by us at Lake TV, which goes over the Niangua closer to the Four Corners. So they're both called the Niangua Bridge.
The one you want's Highway 5, though, right?
The one, exactly. So, but they're both gorgeous. If you go across either one of them, you get just incredible views. And the one west of town, the Highway 54 Niangua Bridge, is real close to Hahatonka.
Right, and that's where there's other hiking and crazy fall colors. We'll show you some of those right now, courtesy of Skyview Photography, our guy Daniel Carnahan. But we have some of those photos of the foliage and the fall colors at Hahatonka. It really is a staple at Lake of the Ozarks. That castle during the fall is beautiful, isn't it?
Just gorgeous. I mean, there is so much to Ha Ha Tunk. We were up there, the wife and I, just recently to go to your daughter's birthday party, and we just kind of cruised around and looked at all there's a lot up there.
Yeah, there's like 17 or 19 different trail systems, and
Yeah.
they're all different difficulty and pretty awesome. Actually, we need to do a feature out there of you and I hiking all those trails.
Yeah, you better take a couple weeks because it'll take me that long to do about a mile.
You guys imagine me backpacking Uncle Chris and just on my back?
Yeah,
Like,
you'd have to put me on your back.
I would be in good shape after that trip. And then, of course, there's the Hurricane Deck Bridge and the Community Bridge at Lake of the Ozarks, the toll bridge.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And not that you can get to it or get on it, but the swinging bridges is a sight to see this time of year, or any time of year, really.
I've heard about those, never really been there, but those must be pretty cool.
Unbelievable. One of the only bridges of its sort still standing today. And there's actually an effort to preserve it because it's no longer safe enough where they don't let people drive on it, which they used to as recent as like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so there is an effort to conserve that bridge and do a reconstruction project. They're working on getting some grant money. I know the TCLA and the CVB are heavily involved in that.
Nice.
But one of the coolest things at Lake of the Ozarks, one of the most iconic spots, is the swinging bridges. But fall colors everywhere, probably even off of your boat ramp, your dock, your back deck. Man, the fall colors, just like the sunsets at the lake. We're so blessed to live down here.
Well, in this time of the year, I mean, it's like one day it'll be, in the 20s overnight and 50 for a high, but then 2 days later it's up to 80 degrees where you can get out on the boat and see some of these colors. It's unreal. That's what makes one of the many things that makes Lake of the Ozarks so special.
Yeah, and I do believe, everyone used to kind of believe the Lake of the Ozarks was just a 6 to 7 month area. It is cool to see the lake starting to transition to 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
When we get to our events going on this weekend, you start to see that even in the fall. I mean, there are numerous fall festivals and Halloween and trunk or treating events where you're starting to see there's a lot of reasons to bring your family on vacation to Lake of the Ozarks, even in October, November, December.
Well, and the wife and I love winter because the leaves have fallen and you can see through the trees and there's so much stuff there that you don't know is there during the summer because the leaves are, hiding so much stuff. So we actually love the winter and see so much more of what there is, because the leaves aren't there.
And in the winter, the lake's pretty calm, typically not a lot of activity, so it almost just looks like a pure sheet of glass.
It does, yeah.
Real pretty.
Plus it's storming or something.
All right, so our next story, you guys had me roll back the clock to my childhood days when I tried to be an athlete. You and KB were a little critical of Will's throwing arm. You said, not a chance can you throw that far. I think I said I'd throw like 45, 50 yards, and you guys spit out your coffee. And so next week, we're going to get with my good buddy, your good buddy, Coach Jeff Shore, and we're going to see how far Wild Will can still throw the football.
Yeah.
You've never seen me throw a football, have you?
No, I still don't believe you can, really,
So you fall under this preconceived notion that Will, because I may not look the part, pear-shaped and all.
I saw you tried to play baseball, if that translates, then, I'm safe.
But you didn't see me, the throwing portion of that segment when we were tagging up runners at home from, like 500 miles out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. On next week's show, listen, you got to tune in. We're going to have a little feature for you guys of Uncle Chris, myself, Jeff Shore, maybe even Shannon Jolly might join us.
Yeah, if he can join us, then he said he would like to, yeah.
So I'm going to throw as far as I can. I get 3 throws. Chris is not going to let me warm up, he said. Like, he wants me to throw my arm out.
I want to see you need rotator cuff surgery. No, you can warm up your arm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I want to warm up a little bit, and I get 3 throws, and we'll see what my best throw is.
Yeah.
Are you going to participate and throw as well?
No, I'm too old for that.
Will you
crap.
catch at least for me?
Sure, yeah, I'll catch.
You go down, so if I'm at the goal line, if I throw, I'll start at 5 yards deep in the end zone, so I can come forward, and I won't put my foot over the goal line. How far out of the end zone can I throw?
I'm going to say 38 yards. I'm going to give you 38 yards.
And you're feeling like you're being kind of generous.
I'm being generous.
Because you really feel like I'm going to be like, 25.
I think you'll get 30. I think 30, maybe 32. After we had Paxton DeLorean up in the halftime for an interview of the Camdenton-Lebanon game, and you've had actually a competition with him, and he said he can actually throw. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you can go further than 38.
Well, let's see.
We'll see.
And also, for those of you that are interested in getting in on the act, right down here in the comments below, we cut this separate for you guys. You guess how far Will can throw the football.
That's a good idea.
And whoever's closest is going to receive a surprise Kansas City Chiefs giveaway. Whoever gets closest, of course, this is for next Wednesday when this show debuts. This will be out. So you have until next Wednesday morning at 8:02 during the show debut to put your guess down there in the comments below. How far can Fat Boy throw?
How far can Wild Will throw a football? That'll be fun.
I'm just excited that I get to be on a gridiron with Jeff Shore. I'm just going out to impress him.
Yeah.
I just want him to look at me and say, I'm proud of you.
Sign him up, right? You can play for the Lakers, maybe.
Put me in, coach. So make sure you tune in to next week's show. That'll be a lot of fun. And we got to find out how far KB thinks, because he really didn't think I was going to get anywhere close.
Yeah, he spit the coffee all the way across.
He probably thinks I could throw like 20 yards. He might be right. We'll find out.
Yeah.
All right. So our next story, it's not really local, but I thought this was really fascinating because as I've gotten back into golf and kind of fired up about it.
Yeah.
You've been to those charity tournaments, and there's always those different prizes. Like a lot of holes will do a hole-in-one.
Yep.
And if you hit a hole-in-one, you either get that brand new set of clubs or you get that car on display. And so if you're wondering, how can you afford to do that? Well, there's something that the golf course or the organization has to take out, and it is Par 3 insurance.
Yep.
And I would say it's probably like $250 or $300 to take out the insurance for a $40,000 car.
It depends on how big the prize is, because sometimes they do like $1 million prize. Or
I've never
something
seen
like that. Oh yeah. In the big cities, a lot of times they'll do for the PGA Tour, hole in one, win $1 million or
for
something
those
like
guys.
that. Yeah. So the insurance is big. It's important on that.
And so you have to have that insurance claim. Well, so there's actually a golfer suing the car dealership and the golf course. This was at Morrilton Country Club. Excuse me. It was the best prize for the tournament of the century at Morrilton Country Club. And it wasn't the $1,500 for Top Flight, which is what they won, but it was a 2002 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew, valued at $54,000.
Nice.
And the truck was highlighted on social media by the country club in Morrilton, Arkansas, in the days that led up to the weekend tournament. Hole-in-one on number 10 gets you the keys to this F-150. The country club said on their October 7th Facebook post, thanks to J. Hodge Ford in Morrilton, top videos, Belleville, Austin Claggett actually accomplished that feat. He got the hole-in-one on the 10th hole around 2 p.m., and it was on last Saturday. He expected that to be the weekend's big winner. Well, guess what? They're not going to pay up. The dealership and the country club are not going to sign up because they forgot to take out the insurance policy.
Oh, man. And now the dealership and the golf course are fighting over who screwed up on this. And so the dealership says, we told the golf course that we didn't get the insurance, so you can't give it away. We're not doing it. Golf course is just being quiet. They're not saying anything. So this dude's going to get either some money or his car, that's for sure. But somebody really messed up on that.
Well, his offer said Claggett did not get fair shake. He paid his team's $375 entry fee to the tournament.
That's a big entry fee, too.
That is a big entry fee. Wow. This is about what's doing what is right. His attorney, Andrew Norwood of Denton and Zachary PLLC, said in a statement, he lived up to his end of the deal when he got the hole-in-one, and now Morrilton Country Club and J. Hodge Ford in Morrilton want to crawfish out of the deal. If they didn't want to pay up when Mr. Claggett got a hole-in-one, they shouldn't have offered the deal, they said. So this is... Currently, the lawsuit's been filed. Like you said, the country club or the dealership is kind of just staying quiet.
Yeah, I think the dealership is talking. They're like, we told the country club we couldn't do this. Country club has clammed up because I think they know they messed up. And
we don't have all the information, but how do you see this shaking out? I mean, this is a big, big deal.
I think the country club's going to have to pay up. Because they're the ones, they're the ones that did the advertising that they were giving the truck away. The dealership didn't do it. It was the country club that did it. So I think they're on the line for the truck. And so I think one way or the other, the country club's going to have to pay up.
And I'll tell you what, because of how much national attention this story is getting and how many places I've seen it, the negative PR that's going to come from this, not just for that dealership, but for that country club, because anytime you take advantage or you don't follow through on an agreement, people get really, really mad. And we're talking about a $54,000 prize. Not going to be good for them in PR.
You know what's interesting too, though, and this is just as kind of a side note, it's interesting what the national media gets all fired up about. The national media will get all fired up about something like that.
Right.
National news. But then I read a story yesterday that some lady got beheaded in Los Angeles, just walking down the street. Do you hear anything about that?
Wait, just got beheaded?
Yes. Yeah, it's crazy. But it's amazing what the national news will decide to show you and what they won't. They'll show you that. But, forget about the craziness that's going on in the cities.
Yeah, I won't cover those stories. Those make me sad and depressed and
scary,
doomy and gloomy.
Oh man!
I'd rather focus on my bills and golf.
As long as they keep on winning,
right?
Yeah.
Because then it gets real doomy and gloomy. All right, so that's an unfortunate situation. I was just thinking, man, every time that I go to a golf tournament and there's some kind of prize for a par 3, I always shank that shot so far left or so far right or hit it fat that I can't even find my ball because I'm overthinking it going in, like I'm gonna get close enough, I'm gonna get close enough. I just want a shot when it comes off the club to think it might go in the cup. And never did I think that was going to go in the cup.
And it's funny because a lot of times it's Lake TV giving away prizes, right? And you're basically the guy that decides how much Lake TV is going to. You're so generous. You're giving away this, that, and the next thing. Let's put that on top of it. You're the one usually giving away the truck.
We like to give stuff away, but to whom much has been given, much is expected.
That's true.
They say. All right, so cold weather is here. Actually, earlier this week, there's actually a freeze warning in the Lake of the Ozarks. Our friends at Lake Expo put out that wintry blast that took us to sub-zero Monday night into Tuesday.
I think we got below freezing too, didn't we?
Yeah,
I was. So.
I'll tell you, actually, I woke up at 4:40 that morning because our light got turned on in our bedroom.
Yeah.
Brinley, who just turned 2, she's not only able to get out of her crib, now she's able to get out of her crib that we've lowered it. 4:40, she was ready to get up for the day. She comes in our bedroom, flicks on the light and goes, "Morning, Mama, Daddy." And she was up. Did go back to sleep at 7:30.
Wow.
But so with the cold and the allergies and the early morning rise, it makes for a rude awakening as the cold gets here. Man, I'll tell you what. But a couple of things that Lake Expo, our friends, have suggested. Singles hard freeze will kill your vulnerable plants and could be damaging for exposed water pipes. Homeowners should always winterize, such as shut off and disconnect all unprotected exterior water lines the night before that you expect those freezing temperatures in preparations. And also with gusty winds, make sure your loose patio furniture or anything out in your yard from your mums and your pumpkins, don't just have those out there because some of these winds in this cold weather will really blow them. We found a pumpkin blown all the way down the hill into the woods that we thought someone stole. It was just a wind gust.
Yeah, and we've got, neighbors, they've got a fire pit and stuff like that. One of those big storms. Fire pit ended up in our yard. It's one of those big metal ones.
Oh.
But the winds blew that hard.
And those are heavy.
Oh, man, yeah. And back to the winterizing stuff, I've got a friend that's a plumber, Steve over at Straight Flush Plumbing. And I mean, every week he reminds people, hey, when it starts to get cold, take the hoses off of your spigots because if you leave those hoses on and it freezes, they'll burst the pipes inside the house. So be sure you take your hoses off. Exactly.
That's great information.
It's so easy to forget that, but it'll back up and freeze the pipe going back into your house.
So hoses connected outside, take those off.
Take those off.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that because I will need to do that today. Actually.
Absolutely.
Not even kidding. We have 2 right now connected outside that new homeowner. I'd have been ignorant enough. I never would have thought.
A lot of us don't know that. So absolutely tell your friends.
All right. Our next segment, it's time for our Central Ozarks Medical Center Hometown Heroes, and we got a good one this week. It's our good buddy Keith Lucas with Ballparks National.
Nice.
Our good buddy Keith, he's married to the beautiful Aaron, and they've got 2 kids, Ethan, who's 10, and Anna, who's 15. Of course, Keith works with Ballparks National, but he's also a computer and website design guru. He used to have Creative 55, and he built the original Lake TV website back in 2008 for the original owners, and then went to work with Sandy Waggett and MSW. They actually kind of bought his company out, and he did websites with them for years there before he went to work with Ballparks National. So he's real smart, you know, I mean, he's got that kind of mind.
One of those.
On top of that, he is a combat medic veteran in the National Guard.
Wow.
And has been so huge in his advocacy for the VFW and all veterans suffering from PTSD. Now, the VFW in Camdenton got a huge new building donated and built, and they turned it into a restaurant, and it's the new VFW in Camdenton, you know, right there by the place we had dinner the night our company outing, that big. And that, Keith, was huge in getting that done and getting that restaurant built and getting awareness through Camdenton and really the lake communities for veterans, and really trying to get veterans who are suffering from PTSD and don't have an outlet to come together and share that camaraderie. And he gave hours and hours for that project. And so that in itself makes you worthy of being a hometown hero. So Keith, we thank you for your service. But what really sticks out to me about Keith Lucas, because I've known him for 10 years now since I've been with Lake TV, he was another one of the B&I guys on the west side, is how much he loves and prioritizes his 2 kids, Ethan and Anna. So Ethan now, who's 10, he probably was just a baby when I first met Keith. But I'll tell you, he coaches Ethan's traveling baseball team now. He's a huge supporter of the Camdenton softball team, doing anything they need, because his daughter Anna is a junior, and she's one of the studs for the Camdenton Lakers, who just won a district championship. And listen, so like 4 or 5 years ago, when Anna was 9 or 10, maybe even 11, she was just kind of getting into softball, and she was struggling a little bit in the early going. Well, this young lady has dedicated hours to her craft, from hitting clinics and pitching clinics, and every time, guess who's right there with her? It's Dad, Keith Lucas, taking her to all these different things, and he catches all of Anna's pitching sessions. She's turned out to be a really good pitcher for the Lady Lakers, and all hard work. Right? She didn't have the most talent early on, and she's worked her butt off, and now she's a star for the district champions. Coach Dad there every time for those catching sessions. And he recently organized a fundraiser selling shirts, with all proceeds benefiting the Booster Club for the baseball and softball teams. Also on the Camdenton Chamber Board of Directors. Huge advocate in raising awareness and support for that softball program. And he works super hard at Ballparks National. You've seen what they've done in the community over the last few years. So I talked to Jeff Vernetti, their owner, co-owner, and he had this to say about Keith. He is a wonderful asset to us at Ballparks National and to the entire local sports community. He's been so huge in Ballparks National, major impact in the local sports community, specifically baseball and softball, because he really cares. And not only about the success of the teams that he is either coaching or has kids playing on, but about all the kids who play in our area. Whether it be the Lakers softball team, LOZ Sports Training Club teams, or teams playing at Ballparks National, or simply even local recreational players, Keith throws everything he has into being a positive impact on the athletes, and he's an invaluable part of Ballparks National family. And Jeff said he is so proud to call him a friend. He's humble, he's selfless, he's a tireless worker, and a wonderful community advocate, and an all-American dad to Ethan and Anna. So this week's COMC hometown hero is our good buddy Keith Lucas. And he's also one of the biggest Cardinal fans in the world. And he was raised a Cub fan and got tired of the Cubs and how bad they were. And he switched over to the Cardinals. His grandpa and his brother, diehard Cub fans.
Wow. He
switched over to the Cardinals. And when we had him on a couple years ago for Story Time with Will and Friends during COVID, he brought on a Cardinal book, had both of his kids, Anna and Ethan, decked out in Cardinal gear with his stuff as well. So I was decked out in Cub stuff. But just a great guy. And I just love the way he dads. Now that I have Brindley, you know, that means a lot to me, to see a dad who's as busy and talented, but still makes his kids his number one priority. I don't think it gets any more important than that.
Absolutely, and as important as he is to you in showing you, helping you to be a good dad, people are watching you to learn how they can be a good dad. So that's cool. We pass that stuff on.
Yeah, and of course I, like you said last week, have the world's best dad. So I got to learn from probably the best there is. All right, so on to our most fun part of the week. The Bills and Chiefs played this weekend, in case you guys didn't happen to catch it. You know, every time these two teams get together, it's almost a game of the year every time.
Yeah, I mean, just think about last year's playoff game.
No, I don't want to.
You know, they scored like, I don't know what it was, like 30 points in the last 2 minutes. The Chiefs ended up winning that in overtime. This game this year, and I picked the Bills to win. I thought the Bills would probably win.
The Chiefs were going to win deep down.
I didn't. I think the Chiefs are kind of a paper tiger in a way. They always play up to the level of competition.
That's true.
And stuff like that. But the Chiefs actually played a lot better than I thought they would this week. They had a chance to win it. They had the lead, stopped the Bills, got the ball back in the final couple of minutes. If they could have put a drive together.
You don't know why they couldn't?
Because the Bills stopped them.
Because the closer, Von Miller, with his second sack of the game. He's now second in the NFL with 6 sacks.
Yeah.
What an addition he's been for the Bills. But listen, you're right. The Chiefs play up to competition. Anybody they're playing, they're never out of the game. I thought when Patrick Mahomes got the ball with a minute left, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
No one felt confident in my household. You know,
Had
we
their
had 10
chances.
Bills fans.
Yep.
It was going crazy, but no one felt confident when they got the ball back with a minute. But Bills prevailed. Josh Allen was unbelievable, dropping dimes. All
just
3
great.
of his touchdown passes were put in perfect spots. His third down runs, including another hurdle of Reed for the Chiefs. He looks like the real deal at this point in the season.
No
He's
doubt.
got to be the front runner for the MVP.
He's a Hall of Famer. You know, I mean, he's still got some years to put in, obviously, but he's a Hall of Famer.
It's a bold statement.
So is Patrick Mahomes. I mean, we've got a great group of young quarterbacks, but those are the 2 best, Mahomes and your quarterback over there in Buffalo.
And that was a big game too, because you look at the Chiefs 4-2, the Bills 5-1. Only one team now gets that home field advantage and first round bye.
Yeah.
And so Bills essentially a 2-game cushion. They got the extra win, but they also have the head-to-head. So that's big. Chiefs next week will be at San Fran, which San Fran's struggling. 325 game Bills will be on the bye. Real quick, high school football. Eldon lost to California. Big. Camdenton, hopefully you guys saw that game. Boy, that was beautiful, wasn't it?
Oh, man, we had that game on Lake TV. Huge viewership, just huge viewership. Camdenton stays undefeated, 8-0. They break a 3-game losing streak they had to Lebanon, go for the undefeated regular season this week on Lake TV, and then head into the playoffs. They'll have a first-round bye in the playoffs, so they'll have the first week off. But then we'll see how far. They're going to be ranked. I think they're ranked number 3 in the state right now. They have a team that could go to the Final Four.
Could win it all this year. Osage, they're freaking rolling, baby.
Yeah.
5 in a row.
Yep.
They win against Southern Boone. 5-3. They're against Versailles this week. And how about the Tigers? We're 0-7 against Booneville, down 20-0. Come back to win that one 21-20 on senior night. Congratulations to Coach Warren Seitz and the Versailles Tigers.
So happy for them.
That was super cool. All right, so NFL Pick'em. Again, 4th week in a row, I've either tied or outright had first place.
I know.
Creating a little distance, you see the standings there, but no one did great this last week.
Nah, it was a bad week.
It was a horrible week. You had the four of the 5 biggest upsets of the year against the spread were this Sunday.
Yeah.
It was crazy, but let's get our picks in real quick. I've got the Cardinals over the Saints.
I've got Cards.
I've got the Bengals over the Falcons.
I've got Bengals.
That's my money pick.
Oh, okay.
Bengals are not going to lose but maybe 1 or 2 more games the rest of this year.
Okay.
Mark my words. Ravens over the Browns.
I've got Ravens.
You got the Lions or the Cowboys?
I've got the Cowboys.
I got the Lions. So
Okay.
Dak is back.
Yeah, we'll see.
How about the Cowboys?
4-1
without Dak.
A lot better than I thought, yeah.
So they put in a position at 4-2 to contend for that division as Dak gets healthy. Who knows, man? That might be a Cowboys team to look out for. Packers and Commanders.
I've got the Packers.
I got the Packers, but they suck.
Oh, man,
they
have
bad.
gone south.
Aaron Rodgers' career's over.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah, he's done.
Sheesh.
Titans over the Colts.
I've got the Titans.
Giants over the Jags.
I got the Jags. I'm going to go
You don't believe in the Giants,
I'm going to go for the Jags there.
Brian Dable, former Bills offensive coordinator. He is going to be the coach of the year, no doubt about it. Giants playoff bound, I'm telling you. Bucks over the Panthers.
Bucks, and they're my money pick.
Smart call. I like that because you know the Bucks can't keep scuffling like they are.
Hopefully.
Raiders over the Texans.
I've got Raiders.
Jets over the Broncos.
I got the Jets, yeah.
Very good. I got the Chiefs over the Niners.
Yep.
Chargers over the Seahawks.
Yep.
Dolphins over the Steelers.
Yep.
And Patriots over the Bears.
Yeah, so we have just two
different.
Yep.
Now, I did want to say real quick, there's tons going on around the lake this weekend, Apple Butter Days, Ghouls Gathering and Haunted Maze Family Festival, Hy-Vee Hollow, Lake Christian Academy Fall Festival, all this weekend. You need to go to funlake.com/events. There's way more that I even mentioned. And don't miss this week's Community Spotlight with Pastor Tim Day from Camdenton Bible Church. Lots going on Lake TV. Well, that's going to do it for this week's Cup of Coffee.
Yep.
Thanks to Jill Ray, Daryl Cunningham, and the whole crew here. This good-looking guy's Uncle Chris. I'm Wild Will. Until next week, God bless.